I'm so much happy to be part of this gathering. I'm super excited to be here. Of course, my name is Thomas Kargobai, the acting General Secretary of the Evangelical Presbyterian Church, Sierra Leone. Of course, I've been a missionary evangelist for almost 13 years now. I started my missionary work here in Rokassa at around 2013. So it's almost 14 good years now of my ministry work. And I thank God for what God has been doing with your support and, of course, your prayer financially, prayerfully, materially. God has been doing a lot in the work of the EPC here in Sierra Leone. Of course, for the past 3 months, I know that you might have had our difficulty as a mission in Sierra Leone, and it has really been a very tough time for all of us in the Evangelical Presbyterian Church here in Sierra Leone. But we thank God that God is still working through us. We call this moment in our missionary work as the rebuilding time. Just like in the days of Nehemiah, rebuilding the broken walls of Jerusalem. So we call this moment of difficulty as a rebuilding period of the EPC work in Sierra Leone. Of course, I just want to go just want to talk a little bit about that because I know that you might have heard what happened within the past 3 months in the EPC work. All of us, or we some of us might have heard about our former leader by the name of Samuel Cisse. And we are so much heartbroken that what happened to him has to do a lot with the work here in Sierra Leone in terms of the ministry work. A lot of negative impactation for what he did. Of course, he was accused of both financial and sexual misconduct. And as a mission, the EPC mission in Sierra Leone, we met as a presbytery and we decided to discipline him for 6 months. But it seems as if the saddest part of the story is that it seems as if there is no sign of remorse in him, because even as we speak, he is planning to do a crusade in one of our local towns in Mine 91. And since we formally handed over to him our discipline letter for 6 months, he decided to shun all of us and threatened us with legal actions. So it is really difficult for us. And with such a caliber of person, with a lot of influence, working for the organization for 13 good years, there are a lot of people who are really still towing his path, supporting him, in the mission work, of course, more especially for the Aid Nations side, the staff of the Aid Nations. So it is so much difficult for the church because we are working alongside the Aid Nations with a lot of pupils. Of course, in my own station, we have close to 1,000 pupils for the primary up to the senior school. You put all the numbers together, you have close to 1,000 pupils and close to 150 staff, and all of them are part of the church. So when something like this hits the mission, it was really difficult for some of the staff and the pupils who are coming from a Muslim background, it really affected them in a very negative way. And that has caused a huge work for all of us, serving as missionary evangelists or pastors in the different stations. But nevertheless, we are still going on and we are still praying for him, for God to, be able to restore him, and as well for God to see, for God to be able to restore the mission work again as it used to be. For now, in the interim leadership, of course, I'm acting as the general secretary, and one of the things that we find out, I was responsible for what happened to SS Samuel Cisse was the the power that was invested in him. He was alone, handling all of the positions. In Eddie Nations, he was the president, and of course, in the EPC in Sierra Leone, he was as well the general secretary. And of course, he was handling all of the finances, So a lot of things, have been going on undercover that was really, really difficult for the work in Sierra Leone. But one thing that we believe, and especially me, um, whatever that has a fruit of unrighteousness will not stand. If somebody is doing such, within a ministry work or any organization, and pretending as if he's working for God, it will just be for a limited amount of time. And when God arises, all of those things will definitely be exposed. And I believe that is what happened. And I as well know that, this is for our good. God sometimes work out the good out of some of the things that we refer to as negative or bad. And I believe that God has a greater goal for the work in the APC and even Edu Nations through what has happened. So as the interim leaders, we are geared towards rebuilding, and few of the strategies that we've put in place and the plans we are working towards is to go around the different communities where we have our churches and our schools to be able to um, mobilize and as well encourage the leaders working in those different um, centers for them to see the work and be part of the work as if they are working for God and not man. Just like Nehemiah did in the time of rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, mobilizing his countrymen. That is the same work we are doing, going around the different communities and trying to let them know that this work, the work of the EPC and Eddie Nation, is not the work of man, it's the work of God, it's a mandate given to us by God. And we should please God in this work rather than man, so that all of the staff and maybe pupils who are towing the line of SS will be able to see that we should serve God in this matter, and we should put God first rather than man. So of course we'll be having our retreat coming up in December from the 17th to the 20th. Though we still have challenges in terms of funding, we are still trusting God. It is just $3,000 retreat for all the APC leaders. It is a leadership retreat, and it is basically rebuilding the broken walls, so that our communities will be impacted, our communities will revive again. It's like, mobilizing all of the leaders of the mission and to see how we'll be impacted through the word of God, and to see how we'll be revitalized for the work that is ahead. So, of course, that retreat will be coming up in December, the 17th to the 20th. And of course, before that time, all of the EPC stations, we have different activities that will be going on. We call them the end of year activities. And of course, for Rokassa, where I'm serving presently, we'll be having a mini crusade in one of the bigger towns within the chiefdom. Of course, we highly need your prayers for that. We'll be having a mini crusade in one of the biggest town within the chiefdom. Call it, the village is called Oema Bana. It is called the Oema Bana, the bigger town of Oema, so to speak. But in the local dialect, they call the place Oema Bana. We'll be having a very big um, mini crusade at that particular point. So of course, we'll be needing your prayers, and that one will be the second week of December. So if you our activities from now to December is so much tightened, and it is all geared towards spiritual rebuilding. So of course, we need your prayers, we need your support, and of course, we continue to see that God will use us to build His kingdom through us in this part of the vineyard. I so much appreciate all of you guys. Of course, hearing your stories and your work that is going on, it's so much motivational to me, and it's so much inspiring. It encourages me to go back and do more work, saying that my brothers and sisters, are going through similar things that we are going through, and I believe that God is using all of us to build His kingdom, which is so much important. I so much thank you guys for being here, and I'm so much excited to be part of you. So far within the EPC work, the Evangelical Presbyterian Church in Sierra Leone, I so much appreciate my time with you guys. And so far, this is what we are going through. And these are some of the things that we'll be doing for the end of the year. Thank you so much.